Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Capital A Trading and welcome to another episode of my Forex Weekly. Slightly different this week. I'm going to analyze some of the opportunities that have been mentioned in the past couple of weeks, show you how you could have tackled them, show you how you could have caught on to investment opportunities. Then I'm going to go through my top 10 for the week. Make sure you go through that all. With that being said, I just want to say a quick shout out to my sponsors, the Absolutely magazine. Thank you for all your support. Be sure to check out my article on page 127, a really good read. With that being said, I also just want to quickly mention that my Discord channel, if you want to keep up to date with the investment opportunities throughout the week with me, send me an email to capitalatrading@hotmail.com and then you will get access to my Discord. With that, let's go through the fundamentals and check out where we can see impact for the week.
Okay, as always, it's important to just check that news at the start of the week. Monday, I'm going to focus on the yen. There's going to be some news quite early on in the week. Just see what that does, see how that affects the yen. Also, the pound on Monday, there's something around 2 o'clock just after the New York Open. We'll be focusing on that. Other than that, for the rest of the week, there'll be a bit on Wednesday here around the US dollar, around the New York Open again. But the main part is going to be on Thursday, where I'm looking to see an impact in the pound and the US dollar again with their London Open and with the US dollar's New York Open. So let's just see the impact that causes on Friday, again, switching over to the Australian dollar through the night, just to see if there's going to be any strength pumped behind the Australian dollar. So with that, let's get into the top 10. Starting at number 10 this week is going to be the AUD USD. Now, there's been a good move recently from that 75, 76 level. We've now got all the way towards the 70 level, a key number. What we've seen last week is price hit it, make a movement up, and then come back towards it. It's just something that's very common with the institutional play. So if I just break it down a little bit, just keep an eye on this level. Let's see if it's going to hold up just above the 70. So anywhere between the 70 to the 7,500, I'm looking to see a buy push from the Australian dollar at some point this week. Keep an eye on that level, just see if it gets respected. Hopefully we can see price at least push back towards the 74 to continue with that bearish trend to the downside. That's the AUD USD, that's number 10. Okay, number 9. It's going to be the pound Swiss franc. Again, I mentioned the move recently, a couple of weeks back from that 124 level. We've had a nice push to the downside towards the 121. It's a nice 300 pip move. And what we've got now is price just sticking at this level, showing signs that the institutions are building something around the key number of the 121. If I just come down onto the 4 hour, you can see the scenario a bit more clearly. This is the area that I think they're playing off. As you can see, there's been a couple taps last week. Let's just see how that area holds up. Look for some pound strength. Of course, there's a lot of news early on in the week surrounding the pound. So hopefully we can see a push from there. And again, target wise, around the 123,500 to the 124 again, just to see price back at that level where they're going to close this gap. Keep an eye on that one. That's the pound Swiss franc. That's the 121. I'm looking at a buy push. Next up is going to be two trades that I've mentioned recently. They've both got their own individual case study videos. And we're just going to kind of update and see what we can do now for this week. This is the Nzd Swiss Franc. There's been that great move from the 65 level, extending down towards the 62,500. So a nice 350 pip move. And what I'm looking at now is just the trend to continue. So it's going to take time. It is going to eventually progress lower. But if I just come down onto this 4 hour time frame, what I'm going to be looking at is just above the 64 level, around the 64 to the 64,300. I think price can climb back towards there and start a whole new transaction, continuing this move to the downside. Keep an eye on that one. It's going to be the NZD Swiss Franc. With that is the NZD USD. Again, we've had that great 500 pip move to the downside. And what I'm looking at now is a possible area where a new transaction has been placed for this move to continue to the downside. That's going to be around the 65,500 level to the 65,300. Just looking at the bearish trend, looking to see price come back, retest this area, and then continue to the downside. That's the NZD Swiss Franc and NZD USD. Number 6 is going to be the USD CAD. Now, just looking on this weekly time frame, you can already see there's been some key drops from this area, just below the 130, 129 level, and it's basically back there again. I just want to understand what's going to happen this week. So if I just break it down again and on the daily, this is the scenario that I'm looking at. This is where it looks like to me a contract has been made last week, and we could possibly start to see the CAD gain some strength and this start pushing to the downside again. Keep an eye on that 129 to the 129,500 level. I just want to see this area respected. I don't want to see price going any higher. If it does, the trade will be invalid very quickly. And of course, I'm looking to just see the struggle throughout the week. If it then starts to progress to the downside, now I think that'll be a good time to jump on. Target wise, I'm looking to see it come back below this area and actually hit the 124. So keep an eye on that one. It's going to be the USD CAD. A quick break from the currencies. I'm now just going to go through US 30 gold and Bitcoin. Again, speaking about some of the moves that have happened over the past couple of weeks. US 30, there's been some good progression from that 3,500 level. And now it looks like we're starting to really push to the downside. If I just get onto that 4-hour time frame, you can see there's been a lot of price action on the key number of the 34. So I just think it's now worth watching to see price come back towards here and then possibly continue with this downward movement. So keep an eye on the 3,400 for the US 30. Gold, again, just about that move that I mentioned recently from the 2,000 mark. We've hit the 2,000 mark and ever since then have been pushing to the downside. I think it's worth just keeping an eye on the 1950. As you can see, there's been some price action left here before it then made a good extension to the downside. So I believe if they're going to have to come back and hit something, it's going to be around that 1950 level, and then we continue to the downside. Last but not least, Bitcoin. Now, again, for those who've been holding, if you've been watching the videos recently, I have been talking about this level being a key level. I do believe Bitcoin is going to go a lot lower before we start to see the revival. And now we're pushing back towards that 30,000 level. This is a key. So like I've been mentioning, this is a key. This is where it's been from before. This is where it's launched from before. So let's just see what's going to happen at that 30,000 level. If it hits it this week, really is important for Bitcoin. Keep an eye on that level. Now we're into the top 5. And of course, my baby, Euro Pound has to be in there. Recently was looking at a move around the 85 level. That to me now has been wiped out. I don't think we're going to start to see it progress yet. I do feel we're going to have to go a little bit higher before we start to see the main movement to the downside. So this is a key level on the Euro Pound around that 86,500. So that's what I'm kind of looking out for. I've highlighted the area that I want to watch. And of course, it brings up the number 86,300. So 86,300 to the 86,500. I'm looking to see price get there, start struggling, start showing signs of a contract. And then hopefully later on in the week with some of the pound news, we can start to see this push to the downside. So just keep an eye on that 86,500. We're looking to see some signs of struggle there. That's going to be number 5. Okay, number 4, very similar to the Euro Pound, is going to be the Euro USD. Now, again, mentioned the move from that 1.1, 1.12 area. We've had a nice movement to the downside, and I just want to see if we're going to get back up towards this 108. This is where I believe the bearish trend will continue. This is where, again, I want to see them get back like Euro Pound, show the signs of struggle, show me that a contract's being entered, and then hopefully we can take a position around this level to keep riding to the downside. That's going to be number 4, the Euro USD. Okay, number 3 is going to be the Pound Aussie. I recently mentioned this 178 level. I wanted to see a push to the downside. We've got that. And basically what I'm going to be looking at now, if I just get onto the 4-hour time frame, is price to get back towards this 177 to the 178. Give it a bit of space to breathe. This is where I believe the trend is going to continue from. Again, as you can see, there's been a contract placed there. They've come towards the area. They've had their sign of struggle. They've came again. And that's when the powerful move came to the downside. So there's definitely something hanging around up at that level, around the 177 to the 178. Now, of course, we've got some Australian dollar news later in the week. If this starts to progress throughout the week, get up towards that level, hopefully then we can start to synchronize it with the news and start to see some Australian dollar strength later on in the week. So keep an eye on the 177 to the 178. That's the Pound Aussie. That's number 3. Next up is going to be the Pound Yen. Again, there is some news surrounding the yen early on in the week. So let's see the impact that has and then try to make a trade throughout the week from there. What I'm looking at recently, I spoke about the 168 level, how there should be a push from there. We've had a nice movement to the downside. If I just then get onto the 4-hour, what I'm looking at this week, what I believe will be worth watching is this 163 to the 164 level. This is where I believe the buy to sell scenario has been left by the market makers. And as you can see, ever since then, price has struggled to go above it and started to make a small movement to the downside. So I'm just looking to see price get back up into this area, create the new transaction, and then of course start to continue pushing towards the downside. Target wise, around the 159 level at least, wiping out any liquidity that will be below here. So keep an eye on that level. We want to see the pound start the week strong and then the yen take over. 163 to the 164 level. Pound yen, number 2. My number 1 for the week, and it has been for the past couple of weeks, is the AUD Swiss Franc. This was well documented inside my Discord channel. I've just been talking about this 70 to the 71 level. And now if we get into the chart, you can see here on the weekly, there has been struggle here for now around 6 to 7 weeks. And if I just start to break down the time frame, you can start to see a familiar picture where it looks like the market makers are really adding positions at this level between the 70 to the 71. So again, all I'm going to be looking for this week is price to push down and start to come back towards, let's say, the 7,500 to be precise, right in the middle of my key area where I want to see price start to really take off from. So just keep an eye on this one. I will be updating it inside my Discord channel. So if you haven't got access to that, do so now. Send an email to capitalatrading@hotmail.com and I'll be more than happy to send the link over to you. That's the AUD Swiss Franc. This is going to be my main focus for the week. Keep an eye on it.
Okay, thanks for watching. That's all from me this week. What I would suggest doing, keep track of 2 or 3 of the investment opportunities, see how they get on throughout the week, and of course, know when to tackle them with hopefully some of that fundamental news that we checked out. If you want to take your trading further, check out the website. That's www.capitalatrading.co.uk. Read up more about the mentorship program and just how it all works. Also, keep track of the channel. Make sure you've subscribed. Make sure you hit a like button. Leave a comment. Let me know what trading opportunities that you're looking out for this week. Okay, have a good one.